Okay, it's almost Christmas time, so before we say anything else, Mark Griffin's going to say Merry Christmas to everybody. This is Ozzy Reynolds, and this is a friend of ours, Scott Adams. And this is CSI Podcast number 18, my age, or IQ, and it's December 23rd, 2015. A lot of pretty interesting things coming, but mostly we just wanted to wrap up the end of the year and start getting back on podcasts and taking care of business. So, Ozzy, you want to go over the highlights? You want me to attack them?
Hey, go ahead. You're doing a great job so far.
I'll take the first one. 2016.
Near and dear to your heart, right?
Near and dear, yep. The J. Swanson Memorial Tournament, commonly known as the Swanee. We've moved locations. It's been in L.A. the last couple of years, last 5 or 6 years, actually. Moving back to its roots in San Diego. Going to be at On Cue Billiards. We've changed a few things. It's now limited to 128 players because it is a 2-day event on 9-foot tables. The poster that you see was done up by Fast and Loose Designs, Chris Santana, and he does some pretty good work. It's pretty cutting edge, which I kind of like. And he's selling T-shirts like these. On you'd have to go to the AZ Billiards threads. No. You can correct me.
There is a link right on our webpage.
See, you know more than I do.
CSIpool.com, and there's actually a couple links for those that missed the first one. There's a second one. But it goes directly to Fast and Loose Designs website, and you can pre-order your T-shirt. Get this, I couldn't believe this. T-shirts at the event will be $20, which is a heck of a deal to begin with. If you pre-order online, $10.
Really?
For a shirt. Okay. Unbelievable.
And this is really a kind of a unique event. This is the 20th year, am I correct? You'd think I could remember. But after 20 years, you start forgetting things. But it originally started at College Billiards, which is a room I bought in '96 or '97. Sold quite a few later, but that's where it started. And Jay Swanson was an extremely strong player, and he had a loyal following. He died at a quite young age, a little over 20 years ago, and it's a great event. So hopefully they can make it. It is a Mosconi's point event. I believe it's the first one of the year. No, actually, Derby City might have some. So. And we don't know which events are Mosconi Cup. That's up to the matchroom and everything. But we're glad to bring the Swanee back to its roots. On Cue has air conditioning, and I won't go any further than that. And away we go.
All right. So that's February 20 through 21 in La Mesa, California. Next up on the docket of events, we have the 2016 Wisconsin State Championships. That's primarily a BCA Pool League, USA Pool League event. That's March 16th through 20th at the beautiful Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. There's the flyer for the event. 11,000 added based on field sizes. And all the information for that event is on playcsipool.com. After that, we anticipate the 2016 Michigan BCAPL State Championship. That date and location is to be announced, but we're getting very, very close. And, of course, I get emails, calls, text messages.
This is another 20-year
event. People showing up at our door,
yeah.
Always asking about the U.S. Bar Table Championships. That event, historically, has been February, March timeframe in Reno, Nevada. It's highly probable that we're going to change locations this year. It's highly probable that it's that's not a guarantee, folks, but it's probable that it's going to be in Las Vegas this year, just a little later in the year. We're probably looking at the May-ish time frame, but we're real hopeful that we can release venue and dates very, very soon.
Right.
And behind that, in June, we have the first ever,
True. Yeah.
2016 CSI Arizona State Championships.
8-ball championships.
8-ball championships. Thanks. I knew you were here for a reason.
Me too. I'm not just a pretty face.
June 8 through 12. That'll be at the gorgeous Casino del Sol.
Yeah, that's a nice place.
In Tucson, Arizona. We were actually there this past June, and we called that event the BCAPL Nationals Warm-Up. We decided that wasn't the right way to brand the event. It's going to be an Arizona State 8-ball championships. CSI Arizona State 8-ball championships. Going to be a great event. The first one was wonderful. The players that showed up loved it. The players that stayed home regretted it. So that's an event you want to make it to if you're anywhere near Arizona.
And we got some great footage out of that because we do live streaming at all these events, and And the coming up year, we'll be really working. Last year we introduced Fargo Ratings, and Arizona's leaning towards going across the board Fargo, and everything we're doing is going to Fargo. So,
do you have to be a member of Arizona to be in that tournament?
You do not. Any BCAPL, USAPL, or CSI associate member can play in that event. Yep.
We expect it to grow because it is a great facility, and the hosts are awesome. They really take care of you. The food's very, very reasonable. You know, it's a little nugget sitting out there. You know,
the thing that struck me about that, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the thing that struck me about that venue right away was convenience.
Yeah.
You come down the hotel elevator, you literally walk like
across the hall,
like nowhere across the hall. Starbucks Convention Center.
Yeah.
You're not walking very far at all. It's super convenient. You don't have to go 2 miles through the casino to get to the convention area. Awesome event. Yeah. And then the big show next summer, we're planning and talking about it already. July 20th through 30th, 2016. It's the 2016 BCAPL National Championship.
It is the 40th annual. Amazing, 40 years.
Have you been there all 40?
Nope. I'm not that old.
Alrighty, moving right along.
And the schedules for all the events for the Nationals will be getting posted early January. We're making some changes because there's a lot of changes going on, which we'll discuss.
Actually, I'm going to beat your prediction, Mark.
I was trying to give you some breathing room.
Entry forms are done.
Correct.
Format and structure is done. Schedule is done. Web page is almost done. New tournament regulations almost done. I anticipate, not going to guarantee it, but I anticipate having all of the BCAPL Nationals information posted next Tuesday or Wednesday. January 1.
Is it January 1?
The week after.
Okay.
We don't accept mediocrity around here, Mark.
Oh, I guess I better leave.
So all of that information will be posted very, very soon. But that leads into, that's a good segue to talk about Fargo Ratings. Now, if you're expecting to get all the information about how Fargo Ratings will be applied at Nationals in this podcast, go ahead and turn it off because you're not going to get that. That information will be posted very soon. But we are going to give you some kind of broad information about where we're going.
Yeah.
So the first thing, what the heck is Fargo Ratings? If you're watching this, some of you may know what it is. Some of you may have no clue what it is. Fargo Ratings is a mathematical pool player rating system that accurately measures pool players' ability relative to one another on the same scale all across the world.
Based upon past performance.
Based upon performance. Right. Not subjectivity, not because you won this event or lost in that event. It's purely based on performance, 100% objective, accurate, everyone on the same scale. It is absolutely amazing. So we're diving head first, and it's going to be instituted in everything that CSI does.
And the more data it gets, the more accurate it gets. It is amazing.
Yep.
It works very well.
So the first thing to ask ourselves is, why should players even care about Fargo Ratings? So let's do a quick comparison. I did this on the last podcast, but I'll do it again for those that didn't watch. Why should players care about this? We're going to look at the old way versus the new way. So in the old way, you might have a player. This is a hypothetical player. His name is Bob. And in league, maybe his league uses a 10-point system playing 8-ball. And over the course of the session, he has an average of 7.65. At a state level, maybe there's some organization that runs a state tournament, and they use an A, B, C, D system. So they have him rated as an A because he's a pretty darn good player. Nationally, when he comes to the BCAPL National Championships, for example, he might be rated as open. Maybe he didn't quite perform well enough to be rated advanced, so he's still rated an open. So we have one player. He has a rating in his local league. He has a different rating at the state level, and yet a different rating at the national level. Confusing, completely arbitrary, not the best system.
And an A in one state is not an A in another state. So
Yep.
every bubble is completely different.
The new way, which Fargo Ratings offers, that player has the same rating no matter where he or she is in the world. He's a 567 in league. He's a 567 at the state tournament. He's a 567 at the national tournament. It's all on the same scale, all relative to all opponents across the globe.
And interestingly enough, it's not dependent on table size or even really game, as long as it's 8-ball, 9-ball, 10-ball type games.
Yep. So, why does that matter? What
Well,
are we going to do at Nationals, Mark?
Well, we're going to fix it. No. This is a big change, but we really feel it's for the betterment of pool. The game needs a standard performance ability. I mean, a measurement of standards, whether it be golf, bowling, or whatever. There has to be a number that tells you how you stand. And make sure that everybody does at one time goes to FargoRate.com and watches the videos that Mike Page has put together. It'll explain it way better than we can explain it.
So let me show you one severe problem that we knew we had to address sooner or later. And I'm going to show you just a simple table of our men's open division at, I'm going to say, last year's BCAPL National Championships. This was 2015, back in July. This is just the men's open singles division. So we actually looked at the Fargo ratings of all the players that were in the men's open singles, and I think there were, I don't know, 800
700
700 something people.
In the open.
The maximum rating was a 744. The minimum rating was a 67, with a total spread of 677. To give you some idea of what that means, if player A is 100 points higher than player B, player A is approximately double the skill level of player B. So if in a fair race in that example might be 8-4 or 10-5. You get the point. That's a 100-point difference. 677 points difference is unbelievable. And this is within one division. And we saw similar patterns in all divisions. The disparity in skill level is way too great. Next year, this is an approximation of where we're going to be. In the men's open singles, and these are approximate numbers. Don't take these numbers to be defined boundary lines. But we might have a maximum in the men's open singles division of 620, for example, or 619. And the minimum might be 520. Our goal is to have no more than 100 points difference in each division. So you truly will be playing people much closer to your own ability within every division.
It's a much fairer method of people playing. And because no beginner should be playing. A 744 is an extremely strong player. Nobody in Las Vegas is a 744.
You're not?
I wish I was. No,
Has any 477.
No, I'm higher than that. Yeah, but it's a very accurate. It dials in on where you're playing. And
what is your Fargo rating?
I think it's 588. I really think I should be about a 640, but I just don't play. And when I do play, no, I just
675.
Yeah, well, you're a 675, and you have like 800 games. I have it takes 200 games to be what is called an established player. And I went through a few issues, so I'll be back. I'll be back.
Well, if I can just add something too,
Sure,
just from the perspective of someone who's shot in leagues, run tournaments.
Before you do that, let me introduce to you people out there in internet land. Scott is from North Carolina.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
And I first come to know Scott, called me one day out of the blue about a year and a half ago, I think, just generally inquiring about how to sanction leagues and what's the BCAPL all about. He was thinking about coming into U.S. Bar Table Championships. This was in 2014. He was thinking about going in 2015. And lo and behold, he showed up. We had some discussions. I think we had a couple beers.
Mm-hmm.
And he just happened to be out here on vacation, and I said, "Hey, we're going to throw you on camera." So, with that introduction, he's one of our best, brightest future BCAPL league operators.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Ozzy. But listening to you and Mark talk about the Fargo rating, one of our biggest complaints in leagues, tournaments is people sandbagging. And to me, from the outsider looking in at this point, this Fargo rating looks like it's going to be fantastic to really start to
pretty much takes care of that.
Yeah. So I'm excited about it, and a little bit that I've learned here in this visit here has been fantastic, and certainly excited to take it back to Wilmington and share it with everybody and start to let them learn all about it.
The beauty of this is actually a worldwide system, because it's everybody that relates to everybody. That's why if you get a chance, you must watch those FargoRate.com videos, because it's coupling, and it's just how we play and you play and they play, and it's all these little points of contact, and it's amazing. And it's all math, but it just wasn't possible till the cloud was there, because they've got a gazillion computers here, there, and everywhere, and it updates everybody every 24 hours. There's like 40,000 people in the system, and a couple of million games, and they're now, this last week, just been dumping all kinds of more stuff in there.
I was going to say 40,000 is, there's a lot more.
A lot more coming in, because they get all of our data, and it really is going to change the baseline of pool. It's going to make a standard. You're going to go to Miami and say, I'm a 682, and you're going to be in LA and you're a 682, and you're going to be in England and you're a 682, because it tracks the players of all level and speed. And it just really, none of this, I'm a A, B, C player, or a 3, 4, 5. Those are just not reliable numbers.
So I'm going to briefly explain at a 10,000-foot level what you can expect at the 2016 BCAPL National Championships. Very broad. All the details will be released soon. For singles events, people will no longer register for a specific division. You're not going to register for the Masters division or the Advanced division or the Open division or the Leisure division. You're going to register for singles. And once the entries are closed, typically a few weeks before the event is held, we will look at the pool of players that have registered for singles. And we are going to determine where the division boundaries should be based on everyone's Fargo ratings. So, for example, what might happen, these numbers aren't set in stone because it's a balancing act, but you might have the top 15% of the field will be the Platinum division. I call it upper middle 35% of the field might be the Gold division. The lower 35% of the field might be the Silver division, and the bottom 15% of the field might be the Bronze division. So there's no real way to tell where those boundaries will be, and we wanted to do it that way for a couple reasons. The biggest is we didn't want to say, if you're a 600 to 700, you sign up for this division, because now you've drawn that arbitrary line in the sand at 600 to give people something to maybe try to get down to.
It gives them an incentive to mess with their scores.
And we don't want to go there.
No.
And if you're, if you're a player and you're at 602 and the line's at 600, we don't want that incentive to try to lower your rating to even exist. So there's no need to try to get your number.
It's basically a bell curve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
1,000 players, so many percent here, so many, just kind of.
What that will guarantee people is that no matter where you play, which division you end up in, you're going to be playing people that are very close to your own ability. You're not going to be playing somebody that's rated 300 points above you. It will not happen. So that should give everybody a lot of confidence that we're going to have a lot more competitive matches in every division.
And that goes back to somewhat what Scott was saying, the sandbagging aspect. And some people, knowingly, this might be their first year there. They don't really know where they belong, and we don't know because we don't have any data on them. But with this new system where we track their league play and everything else, we will have a number. We will have their speed clocked to a degree. And the more they play, the more accurate it gets. It's going to eliminate the unknown, so to speak, and it's just going to it makes it more fair. It's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fair competition. There's not supposed to be any stealing or robbery going on.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be a game. It's supposed to be fun.
For Scotch doubles, it'll be different. There are going to be 3 divisions, just like there always has been. But every division is going to have a maximum team limit. So the team limit is just that. You add up the Fargo ratings of the 2 players on a team, and it can't exceed the limit. All the details of what the limits will be and everything will be released next week. I'm not going to go there, but for Scotch doubles, you will sign up for a specific event. You'll have 3 different divisions you can choose from, but you got to stay under that team limit. Again, that ensures that all teams will be playing other teams very close to their own ability. For teams, not Scotch doubles, but teams, it will be exactly the same. We're going to have 3 divisions for teams, 3 different maximum team limits. Actually, more than 3 because there's 9 ball in there as well. But the point is, you will sign up for specific divisions, just like always. But if you add up the Fargo ratings of all the team members, it cannot exceed the team limit. So that's it. That's what you can expect at Nationals. I know there's lots of devil in the details.
A lot of questions,
but the entry forms and the web page that we really anticipate will be published next week will have all of that information.
And it will also have a link where you can check on your Fargo number.
Good segue.
We're putting a whole bunch of stuff in right now, or we aren't. The geniuses up north are.
Did you actually read your notes? You just guessed. Good guess.
It was a good guess.
All right. So how do you look up your Fargo rating, right? We have a lot of people in the system, and a lot of ratings are dead nuts accurate. But there are a lot of people that we have no data for a variety of reasons. So what do you do to start with? This is what we're going to do. For those people that we don't have any data or we have very little data, we are going to assign a rating to those people. It's a starter rating, but we're going to assign an initial Fargo rating based on what they're rated currently in our system. So, for example, a open-rated male player will receive an initial rating of 525. An advanced player will receive a rating of 625. Master player 675, Grandmaster 710. Women are very similar, but the scale's down a little bit. Again, all this information will be released soon. But the point is, if you're not in the Fargo rate system, don't worry about it. You're going to have a rating to start with, and then your actual performance will take over and become your real rating.
Or as we get more data, and we get a coupling where you've played other people that have played in the system, it will create the system, and it'll start overriding
Yep.
Because once we get people that have played people that have played people and played people and played people, it goes way out there. Then you get the coupling and the relationships, and that's where the Fargo number comes from. But,
so right on the web page and the entry forms, there will be links flashing at you every which way. Click here to look up your rating. You click there, we'll log into our database. If you don't have an account already, you create one real easy. It's free, doesn't cost a thing. You log in and you look up your rating. It's that simple. Yeah. Now your rating, it'll have a number. It'll say Fargo rating with a number, and there'll either be one of 2 words behind that number: transitional or established. Transitional means we either have no data or very little data on you, and that rating is probably a starter rating that was assigned. If it says established, that's your actual rating based on performance, and we have more than 200 games of data on you in the system. 200
is kind of the key number. So if we only have 1 or 2 events from you, you might only have 70 or 80 games. And obviously, it could be a little volatile. You need numbers to make it work. It's still going to be reasonably accurate.
Very accurate.
Right off the get-go. But the more numbers, the better it gets. It's impressive.
So at a 10,000-foot view, that's what everyone can expect at Nationals. We've been working hard to put all this together. Scott and I have been talking for, probably a couple hours in the office about this and some other things. And you said something very interesting. And I'd like you to explain to people at home what you think about Fargo ratings and what it could do for pool, just as a player's perspective.
Well, everything that I've learned so far, and I'm going to go out on a limb and speak for a lot of league operators and tournament directors and say thank you, because you got rid of our number one complaint is that somebody wasn't handicapped right or there was sandbagging going on. So thank you. That's our number one complaint, at least mine anyways. But I think that, the Fargo rating is really just going to bring things together. It's like the final piece of the puzzle to be able to make everything work together from a league perspective, a tournament perspective. It's there's no more. It's going to eliminate a lot of animosity of you weren't this and you weren't that.
Yeah.
You weren't.
It takes away subjectiveness.
Yeah,
It's a number.
I think it's really
created from math and history.
Yeah, and I'm an outsider looking in, and everything that we've talked about the last couple hours has been really fantastic, and I'm excited just to be here and be able to have the conversation with you guys. So
because you really didn't know what Fargo really was when you came in the door. You kind of
a little bit looked at it online,
so
and I looked at my rating. I was a 624.
Yeah.
Higher than Mark.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll take
But
and so I can't ask for the 8-ball from him because I have to ask for games. See, Fargo doesn't work if you spot balls. It's got to be a win-win, a full game, and that's all the information it needs to function on is how many games. 6-4. I won 6 games. He won 4. You see, I always win when I do that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, you can live in a fantasy if you want to.
So I overall I think it's the Fargo rating. I'm excited for where it's going to go. It's amazing what is being put together here at CSI, and just I'm excited from a league operator, tournament director perspective. So it's pretty impressive what's happening.
Yeah, and if you're running events, be it leagues, tournaments, or whatever, you want to get involved, get in contact with us, and we'll tell you how to get the information to us. So then all your players will just get put right in, and a lot of them may already be in, because if you played in any of our events or any of these other events, they're in it. So all we got to do is it just ties the players together. It's really a simple concept. It's just a lot of math.
Scott said something in the office earlier that really made me smile, Mark. He said he watched our last podcast where we explained a little bit of the stuff that we just explained, and he says, Ozzy, I was sitting there watching that podcast, and I thought, man, these guys got all these pieces sitting out on the table, and now it looks like they're just going whoop, and putting it all together. Yeah. And that kind of made me smile because that's
exactly what it is.
How I see it. Yeah. And I remember you saying that when I was sitting in the office, and we were talking about me coming on board with CSI, and you were talking about the pieces and how to put them together. Yeah. And I have one more. Do you guys have anything else to say? Because I have something I really want to close.
I have to say an Alaska story.
Go ahead.
I got my Alaskan watch fixed and cleaned today. That's my Alaska story.
That thing looks like it came from the Wizard of Oz.
It did. It's only it's pushing 40 years old. That's okay.
Yeah, mine's better.
Alaskan jade, Alaska's flag, Alaskan gold, Alaska man. What more do you want?
One-way plane ticket. Steven's shaking his head.
Yeah, well, there's the Alaska story to keep all the screwballs happy.
So there's 2 things I want to say. First of all, I want to wish everybody out there Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This is being filmed on the 23rd. It'll be released tomorrow, Christmas Eve. I want everybody to be safe, have a great Christmas, enjoy your family. Everything else is details. That's what matters in life. So I want everybody to have a great Christmas out there, regardless of who you are. And I want to close with a Griffinism. And then we'll say goodnight. This happened yesterday. I'm not making this up.
Yeah, he is. I have no idea what he's going to say.
We're riding in the car, going to a meeting, and somehow Mark Griffin starts talking about Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, did you realize that Egypt is in Africa? I said, yeah, I did realize that. I actually have seen a globe. And he says, man, Africa is one big country.
No, I corrected it immediately. I meant to say continent. The guy. Geez, if I burp sideways, he makes a federal case out of it. No, it's just interesting because most people that I've talked to, they think Egypt is a separate country. They don't realize Egypt and Egyptians were Africans.
Did you just do another one?
What? That Egypt
is a separate country.
It is. Yeah.
You mean most people think it's a separate country?
They don't think it's part of Africa.
Oh.
They think it's a separate. It's just Egypt.
We got 2 Griffinisms for the price of
one.
The
price of one. Yeah. What can beat that? That's your Christmas present. Anyhow, thank you very much. CSI's here. We're doing well. Some of us. I am. My health is off the charts. Just so you know, if you care. But we're going to be rolling out some good stuff towards the end of this year and the beginning of next year. And 2016 National is going to open a lot of eyes. It really is. I know everybody's looking; they're going to get glassy-eyed and confused and this and that. Don't get it too serious. It's just last year you were playing in an open event that in teams and singles that you could have been playing an all-star team that were all semi-pros. It's not going to happen anymore. That's the beauty of it. They're going to be playing other semi-pros. You're going to be playing people of your own skill level. It gives everybody a more equitable chance, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Nobody's supposed to have to pay $1,000 to come down here and get run over by a freight train. That's just not right. And there you have it.
Agreed.
And if you're driving the freight train, you don't like it, don't come.
Scott, I want to thank you for stopping by. You're just on vacation.
Yeah, I'm on vacation, and I'm glad you guys gave me the opportunity to stop by. Yeah. And for all the BCA league operators, tournament directors out there, fill their email inbox with information or questions, curiosities, because they got some great stuff coming. It's really, really impressive. And I appreciate you letting me stop in.
Yeah, and none of this stuff is top secret. Anybody out there wants to know what's going on, there's the door. Just walk on in. It's not like it's...
It's funny. Last night, Scott sends me a Facebook message. Oh, man, I'm in town. Can I stop by tomorrow? I said, sure. Hey, you want to be on podcast? He replied, yes.
Check them out.
Didn't know what I was getting into, but
cool.
Sure.
Well, it's always interesting to have someone else on rather than...
It's nice to get a sounding board when we talk these things out, too.
But normally, when we've had guests, they've been other notable people in the industry. We've had Luke Riches and Don Owen and different people. And I thought it would be a nice opportunity to have a regular player, a league operator out there that actually cares about what's going on and get that kind of perspective on the podcast.
I hope to get to that notable level someday.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, listen, thank you very much. And from CSI to the rest of the pool world, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Good night, folks.
Good night.